Folks, Russ Scala here with Scala Precision Health and the Russ Scala YouTube channel. I'm here with Keith Bell of thegutclub.org. We're going to talk today about the future of personalized medicine and how gut testing and fecal transplantation is going to be a very hot topic. What we found out from different studies on different animal groups is that the intestinal flora, when you change that, if you take a healthy animal fecal matter and you transport it into a sick animal, that animal's immune system goes up. The same thing with weight loss. You can actually elevate the immune system and help the animal lose weight, including humans, by changing the gut microbiome with fecal transplantation. I work with a lot of malpractice attorneys. I also know that bacterial-resistant C. diff that is in hospital with MRSA, that this is one of the only areas, Keith, I think they're able to use fecal transplantation, and has actually stopped C. diff and MRSA in its tracks, which is pretty fascinating. So Keith and I are going to go back and forth on this, folks. I hope you learned something.
Hey,
this is going to be a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about fecal microbiota transplant. This is something that I've been pretty excited about, and the world has been, really trying to understand the mechanism behind it and to consider all of the applications for FMT, because right now the FDA only allows doctors to perform FMT for the problem of C. diff, which is Clostridium difficile microbe, the bacteria that overgrows largely in response to antibiotic abuse or just antibiotic use. In certain people, they may be predisposed to an overgrowth of C. diff. And that's a killer. They found that, you know, using an antibiotic only cured the problem about 20% of the time, but FMT I think has something in the range of a 90% success rate.
You know, if we understand that people, you know, we understand that your immune system, everything revolves around your intestinal flora. It sort of makes sense that a person that has a healthy intestinal flora can elevate someone else's immune system. When did this start, the study of fecal transplantation? Does it go back centuries?
It does.
Or is this just something new?
No, it's a couple thousand years, I believe. There's you know, evidence that people in China were doing this, largely from the oral method. I think they were making something, you know, the equivalent of a poo-poo milkshake, basically, and drinking it. You know, that's being done now as well with frozen poop capsules. And it's also done intranasally, where a tube is fed down the nasal cavity and then drops into the small intestine.
Aren't people doing this themselves?
That's probably the most exciting area.
Interesting.
Yeah, and in fact, the Gut Club is going to be launching a project where we're going to help people find donors because that's the hardest part. When the community that's doing it themselves, because their doctors are not allowed to do it, they're having a hard time finding a donor. And that's an area where we can help link them up with donors that would be a good fit for their current microbiome.
So I guess the donor's got to be tested as well as the recipient.
Oh yeah.
And then that's interesting. Wow, what an amazing tool.
Yeah, yeah. What we're going to be focusing on, Russ, is breastfed baby poop. This is
holy mackerel.
Yeah, this is probably some of the best medicine in the world being landfilled in disposable diapers. You know, consider breastfed baby poop being very high in bifidobacteria. In fact, the healthy infant gut, breastfed infant gut, is 80% bifidobacteria for good reason.
And then the right balance of essential fatty acids that surround every lipid bilayer. Holy mackerel.
And not only that, but healthy phages are very high in infancy, and then bacteria are raised at a later date. But these phages are controlling pathogenic microbes.
Are there companies, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are there, you just got me thinking, are there companies collecting the baby poop right now and storing it?
No, they're using adult poop for the most part.
I got you.
But in the historical evidence, using children's poop was part of it.
2,000 years ago, what were the Chinese using the poop for?
Well, they were curing probably all kinds of diseases. I need to learn more about that myself.
Gotcha.
But probably they were looking at gastrointestinal symptoms and realizing that there was an imbalance. They probably had some inclination, or rather some kind of intuition, rather, that microbes were playing a role.
Unbelievable.
Somehow they were able to intuit that putting poop in, and maybe they probably saw animals doing it, because animals self-medicate.
Animals self-medicate with poop, right?
Yes.
It always fascinates me when somebody's doing, like, I do a lot of research in microdosing LSD and the cultures that have did this. So if they understand that certain plants are so beneficial to us, whether it's psychedelics or that they help us enhance our cognitive ability. When you study thousands and thousands of years ago how they knew this, well, no difference with the fecal transplantation. They must have watched the animals, because the animals know what to do. They know when to eat poop. They know when their intestinal tract is out of balance. It's fascinating.
Oh, the elephants you can see videos on YouTube. A baby elephant will eat poop freshly coming out of its mother's rear end.
To inoculate their intestinal tract.
Sure, and it's done with other types of animals as well. The mother will feed their babies poop.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. And it's, obviously, folks, it's a subject that not a lot of people want to talk about, and there are probably a million jokes that you can make about this. But it's fascinating that this can be a tool that you could use to help somebody in your family. That to me is fascinating.
Well, and for broad applications as well. I've seen papers where FMT attenuated things like Crohn's disease and epilepsy and Tourette's syndrome. And it's probably going to be useful for diabetes. Whether or not it comes into the small intestine, through oral use or through enemas, addressing the colon, that's an important factor as well.
I got you. I got you. I just think that, what you and I are talking about here today is, they're not even discussing this at the Mayo Clinic. Yeah. So I want us to be able to get this information into people's hands about your research, my research, and create a viral market of knowledge. I think that's...
You say a viral market?
A viral market of knowledge.
Yes, okay.
You know what I mean? I want this to be like the best joke on the planet that somebody's going to tell 20 of their friends. Not a joke, but you know what I mean. Everybody likes sharing good information.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll make a joke out of this. I don't know, but I think it's fascinating that if you have somebody at the 11th hour in your family, and fecal transplantation might be something that could turn them around and save their life, it's mind-blowing.
I have a loved one, and probably everyone has had a friend suffering diabetes as a life or death issue. I'd like to think that FMT can play a role to save people, and may even prevent things like amputation in diabetics.
I think that I always look at everything multifactorially through nutrition, through the intestinal tract. We have to treat people. Our toolbox has to expand. Traditional medicine doesn't have a large toolbox. They just have medication. So I think this is going to be the future. And I want to do more back and forths and more training with you. I think what we're doing here is fascinating.
Me too. And I love talking about expanding the toolbox. I think stool testing, microbial DNA stool testing, which we're doing to know what the populations and the balance of microbes are, is going to become commonplace. We're going to I'd like to think that every newborn, and every pregnant mother should have their stool tested to know what the balance is. And we might be able to do things, this is a progressive area that the Gut Club has been delving into. Vaccine safety, we might be able to assess the risk of an adverse vaccine reaction by examining the balance of microbes in an infant gut.
Hot topic. Oh my goodness.
Why not do some testing before just applying a vaccine that may work well for one person but doesn't work well for another, based on microbial balance.
Folks, Eric Topol from the Cleveland Clinic wrote a book. You heard me mention it before. It's called A Patient Will See You Now. And in 400 pages, he basically sums up what Keith and I are talking about. People are going to form communities. Okay, they're going to get on social network. They're going to do their own testing, and they're going to heal themselves all without doctors involved. Now, I'm not saying we got to cut the doctors out of the picture. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is people are not going to wait for traditional medicine to take care of them. They're going to take control of their health. Would that be a fair statement?
Hopefully, you know, of course doctors have their role, and everyone's going to see one at some point. You know, you can laugh, Russ, but I've resolved myself that one day, you know, hopefully when I get to be 70 or 80, I'll probably take a fecal transplant just to extend my life, because, you know, there's a lot of evidence that microbes and microbial balance and certain types of microbes are correlated with longevity.
Folks, we hope this helped you. Look at the Russ Scala YouTube channel, get educated, check out Scala Precision Health, and look at Keith's website, thegutclub.org.
Thanks a lot, Russ, and it's great speaking with you today.